Homebuyer demand across America just collapsed again, according to a new report from the Wall Street Journal suggesting that the 2025 housing market is going to see even bigger price drops as the year goes on. You can see that the Wall Street Journal reported that home sales in March fell 5.9%, the biggest drop since 2022. And amazingly, folks, this was the slowest sales pace for any March since 2009, near the peak of the financial crisis. And so this is getting to be a major issue in the housing market, everyone. Just how low this buyer demand is in 2025, and it's starting to cause sellers across the US housing market to really start to freak out a bit.
What if I told you Trump just made a move that could completely rewrite the US financial system, and nobody's even talking about it? Now, for the first time in history, the US government is officially endorsing digital assets and stablecoins, and they're pushing banks to play a major role. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent just said, quote, "We are going to keep the US the dominant reserve currency in the world, and we will use stablecoins to do that," end quote. But here's where it gets really interesting. They have two ways to do this. One of them is a complete government-controlled system, but the other, it could take us back to a financial model from over 200 years ago, where banks competed to issue their own money. A system that some call chaotic, but others say was one of the greatest golden ages of financial innovation. So the big question is, are we about to see the return of free banking? And if so, what does that mean for you?
Man, is this market smelling like 2009 again? Because sellers are panicking concerning the lack of home sales. And number two, could crypto come to the rescue and force the Fed to lower the interest rates? Man, this is going to be a good one, man. Come check us out. Let's get this thing. You see that thing, baby? Let's get it and let's go.
Yeah, man, that's crazy. 40 days, God, I've been Swayze. Grew the beard out, that ain't shady. That's a bird, man, I ain't baby. Talking hope out, that's so crazy. How I got a shot, raise the bean sprout up, put a crown up on her head so the boys seeing, no, that's the lady. If you ain't catch a double that time on the last rhyme, dog, I could help you. I got plenty more where that came from. When I brainstorm, I need shelter. It's enough water from the most high, even low tide, he gon' wet you. Better learn how to dance in the rain, ain't no use without an umbrella. When I yap for the king, I'ma lap anything on the track. When I rap and I strap and the ring back and
What's good, baby? It's your boy Dale. I'm back in the saddle again. Our motto is to buy, build. We already bought it already, so we already own it, free and clear. Refinance to long-term debt, cash flow. That is the motto. Cliff, man, is that a pretty strong motto, man? What do you think?
Man, the model is strong. Like, you're getting each piece of the invest, right?
What it do, y'all? It's your partner Dale back in the saddle again for another edition of Real Estate Friday Live. It's just me today, guys. Cliff is off taking care of stuff with the family. Guys needed a must-needed break, but it's your partner. I'm in the building looking better than you. Don't get mad at me. Talk to Jesus about that thing. But guys, thank you so much for your time. Welcome to Real Estate Friday Live. If you could do me a favor, guys, share, like, and subscribe, guys, and hit whether you're on TikTok, YouTube, Rumble, you name it. Hit on the like button and also on that bell button, guys, that'll help out our algorithm, guys, so we can give you the right content, man. This is going to be a really good one for today, guys. All right, guys, all things real estate, guys. Today's topics is going to be very simple, guys. Boom. Number one, guys, here we go. The Wall Street Journal says housing is collapsing. What? They're saying housing is collapsing. That's the Wall Street Journal saying. Number two, guys, the biggest collapse, and they say this is going to be the biggest collapse since 2009. Y'all remember that one? I do, because I bought a lot of real estate during that time frame. I bought a ton of real estate between 2008 and 2015. That was the greatest time for your partner to buy real estate. Number three, could crypto open up lending? What you say? There's been a lot of talk around the lowering rates. President Trump and Fed Chairman Powell are at odds because Trump wants him to lower the rates, but the Fed Chairman says no, and I agree with the Fed Chairman, guys. And lastly, with all of this hubbub and this talk about the collapsing, you know what's really available, guys? Distressed properties. We're going to talk about the five type of distressed properties that you should be looking for right now. The five type of investment properties, guys. You're gonna be surprised about what they are, guys. All right, let's dive into this thing real quickly, guys. Let's dive into this whole thing when it comes to The sellers panicking. Sellers are panicking right now when it comes to the market, says the Wall Street Journal, guys. And the Wall Street Journal is pretty much a balanced type of news outlet in some form of fashion. And a lot of the information is accurate, guys. So when the Wall Street Journal begins to speak, you better listen a little bit. Let's bring in our guys from Reventure app, guys, to walk us through this again, guys. Let's hear exactly what's going on concerning the market, guys. And this could be happening in your city or county or state. So you need to pay attention and write down what he's saying. All right, let's get it in.
Homebuyer demand across America just collapsed again, according to a new report from the Wall Street Journal, suggesting that the 2025 housing market is going to see even bigger price drops as the year goes on. You can see that the Wall Street Journal reported that home sales in March fell 5.9%, the biggest drop since 2022. And amazingly, folks, this was the slowest sales pace for any March since 2009, near the peak of the financial crisis. And so this is getting to be a major issue in the housing market, everyone. Just how low this buyer demand is in 2025, and it's starting to cause sellers across the U.S. housing market to really start to freak out a bit.
Now, why is there stagnation when it comes to the real estate market? Two reasons. Number one, cost of capital. You're looking at probably 6 to 7% interest rate, maybe high fives to 7% of interest rates, guys, for a 720 plus credit score. Not 2 or 3% interest rate, 6 to 7% interest rates with a 720 credit score. That's too expensive for homes right now. And number two, because of the cost of capital, sellers who normally would either downsize or upsize by putting their property on the market, they're not willing to give up their 2 or 3% interest rates. They are not at all. Actually, I met an investor this week that he lives in a pretty affluent area in the Collin County, Dallas area. He actually bought a house he's actually renovating now. He's going to move out of the bigger house, right, that he's in right now, into a smaller house, and he's going to lease that property out. This is the reason why he said that. It was because the cost of the interest rate that he actually has on the property is sub 3%. So it's 2 to 3%. That's damn near free money for his property was probably worth around like 1.2, right? 1.3 mil. That's what he's looking at, guys. So again, it's because he has a lower rate right now. That's the reasoning why that you have a stagnated market. The cost of capital is affecting not only sellers, but also buyers. Hence the reason why Wall Street Journal is saying that the sellers are panicking. Let's keep it going.
In particular, Realtor.com is reporting that big home builders are doing massive price cuts in Florida, with the COO of KB Homes revealing to investors in late March that the company had to reduce prices by more than $30,000 in the Sunshine State to drum up local business, with Florida being their softest state in terms of sales demand in the first quarter. Yeah. Now, at this point, many of you know that Florida's housing market is in a correction, but what I think some of you don't know is the fact that this correction is now spreading to other housing markets across America. If we take a look at this map on Reventure app, we can see home values declined minus 0.43% in Florida in March, which annualizes to about a 5% drop over a full year. However, take a look now at Georgia. Georgia is now officially in minus territory in terms of home value growth, minus 0.3%. In addition, out west in states like Colorado, Arizona, California, Oregon, and Washington, we are also seeing values decline. And the one thing that seems abundantly apparent is that home buyers are going to wait on the sidelines for these price drops to get bigger. Because
didn't I just tell you that because of the cost of capital, home buyers are not willing to move expediently to buy homes? That means fast to buy homes. And I don't blame them. Would you borrow at a 6 or 7% interest rate? Would you? Me and my wife were looking at buying it, most likely buying a newer home, but we're not going to pay 6 or 7% interest rate, right? That's principal interest, and that's just PI, principal interest. You ain't included taxes and insurance and PMI if you're doing FHA, right? I mean, you have to look at the numbers here. It's not making any sense. Does that make some sense, guys? I don't blame them at all. Let's keep it going.
home buyers have become very fatigued by the housing
Yes.
market over the last couple of years. I know you guys have been watching my channel. You've been watching Zillow listings for the last 3 years. And just because prices are starting to drop doesn't mean that you're all of a sudden going to power into the market.
Correct.
So I want to show you this poll, everyone. I polled you guys on our Reventure 2025 home buyer survey. And one of the questions I asked you all is, what's the number one thing stopping you from buying a house right now? And I want you all to pay attention to these responses because these responses are going to tell you a lot about where the housing market's heading. A massive 72% of you said the number one thing stopping you from buying a house is because prices are too high. So the vast majority of you are not buying simply because prices are too high. Meanwhile, 11% of you said that you're not buying because mortgage rates are too high, while
So if the prices are too high, that means you have some delusional sellers. Some sellers are hard-headed and they want their price point. But unfortunately, the market is saying, no, you're going to have to lower your price point because you're asking me to borrow capital at a higher clip to buy your home. That only works well for me if you can lower the price point. And some sellers, they are not wanting to lower the price point. They're being very, 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 very hard-headed, and they're going to fill it in their pocketbooks. They are. If you are a seller and you're wanting to sell, you had better, and you want to sell to a retail buyer, you had better look at decreasing your price point and giving concessions at the closing table. You better look at that. Let's get it going.
9% of you said you're not buying because economic environment is too uncertain. And what is just so fascinating about these results to me is that they counter what you typically see in the mainstream news narrative on the housing market. The mainstream news narrative on the housing market continually says that the reason that buyer demand is low is because of high mortgage rates and economic uncertainty. Like the amount of articles I've seen over the last month that are blaming the slow spring housing market on tariffs is like unbelievable. It seems like everyone's now just blaming tariffs or 7% mortgage rates for low buyer demand, but that's wrong.
Correct.
The reason buyer demand is low is because prices are too high.
Correct.
And if you understand that fact about the housing market, you will then understand what needs to happen in the housing market over the next couple of years for the buyer demand to come back in. And very simply put, it's that prices need to drop and need to drop significantly. And prices are dropping, everyone, because I'm going to show you some listings right now where sellers are doing some big price cuts. And you guys can let me know if you think these price cuts are big enough to sell some of these homes. We're going to start by looking in Dallas. And we're going to go north of Dallas into a suburb called Salina, where we have a 3-bed, 2-bath house that just did a $25,000 price cut, built in 2017. Now you can see their original list price was $625,000 back in August, and they've since cut it to $640,000. So it's an $85,000 price cut. This house has been on the market for 9 months, but it's still not selling. And here's the reason why it's not selling. The original owner bought it in 2022 around $515,000. And so this owner is still trying to make a profit, even though the market north of Dallas has corrected by almost 10%.
Yes, it has.
Since
That's
then.
where I live.
And this is the ultimate issue on the housing market right now. Is something I call the bid-ask spread. And we're going to get more into the bid-ask spread later in this video because understanding this bid-ask spread will help you make better decisions about when and where to buy a house. But first, let's look at more listings. So we're going to go out now to San Diego. San Diego is a housing market that has started to really slow. You can see on this townhome, a 2-bed, 2-bath townhome, it's on the market for $499,000. Now they just did a $50,000 price cut. $549,000 to $499,000, and you can see the Zillow value estimate for this townhome is back to where it was in early 2022, but still way above what this owner paid for it in 2017 at $260,000. But if you want to see the biggest price cuts right now, you got to go to Florida. For instance, this is a house in Venice, Florida, which is to the south of Tampa, close to Sarasota. They just did a $60,000 price cut on this 3-bed, 2-bath.
Yeah.
Actually looks pretty nice on the inside. And they originally listed at $449,000 last July. Now they're down to $360,000. So literally, this house has been on the market.
Now, guys, you can actually see a lot of properties been on the market for a long period of time. And you have sellers that do want to actually make a profit. But unfortunately, right now, guys, it's not going to happen at all. It's not going to work at all because of the fact that you cannot ask a seller to take out a loan to buy your home, right, at a top tier price point, and the interest rate is higher than normal. first past. I believe the sweet spot for interest rates is going to be between 5 and 7% moving forward. That's really the sweet spot. So therefore, buyers are going to have to lower their interest rates. I mean, they have to lower their expectations. Adjust their expectations to know that they're going to have to pay a higher interest rate, because 5 to 7% is going to be the sweet spot. I would say 5 to 6. So it's going to be the sweet spot. So what it's going to be moving forward. This should have been happening a long time ago, but unfortunately, a lot of the times you had politicians playing with people's emotions and manipulating the damn rates. That actually happened 100% of the time, and I'm talking about Republicans and Democrats, because they're trying to win elections. They are. They're trying to win elections. You guys, I don't know what's going on with TikTok, guys. It is what it is. I had to shut it down. It is what it is. I'll come back on TikTok in a little bit. All right, guys, but. Anyways, you see what I'm saying, guys? Now, that's what's going on concerning the market, right? Now, here's what I wanted to ask, all right? Real quickly. I want to ask this. Now, let me get rid of this real quickly, guys. Stop sharing this, because here's what I call the bounce back type of scenario, all right? Boom. Here we go. It's I'm about to bounce back. Yeah. This is how we could probably potentially bounce back, guys. How crypto could open up lending. What you say, Dale? You mean crypto could help us out? It may. There's a huge possibility that it can. And yes, Trump wrote it out, but guess who's actually mimicking this and loving what's going on and already participating in this already? It is the banks, the very banks that you're going to buy homes. Yes, sir. You don't believe me? Don't you worry, your partner got you. I got the receipts, baby. Let's see what's going on with this one, guys. Let's bring him and my man's in them, Mark Moss. He's going to talk to us about what's going down, y'all. And we're going to see if crypto can actually do this. I believe it can, but I want you to see the structure of what's been set up and how it is intertwining with the banking system as it is. And it could give exactly what the Fed Chairman Powell wants to see to cut rates, right? Ideally, what Trump is doing, Trump is expanding the money supply without expanding the money supply, right? He's expanding the money supply without printing more money, which will not cause any inflation. Ooh, you don't believe me? Let's see what's going on. Here we go. Let's dive in this thing real fast.
Trump's plans for banks to start issuing their own digital dollars isn't just an idea. Like I said, it's already been put into motion. Mm-hmm. On March 7th, 2025, the White House held its first ever Digital Assets Summit. Mm-hmm. And this brought together the top crypto leaders, banking executives, and members of Trump's cabinet. And during the live stream portion of the meeting, Trump Secretary Scott Bessent dropped it in plain English. He said, quote, "As President Trump has directed, we are going to keep the U.S. the dominant reserve currency in the world, and we will use stablecoins to do that," end quote.
Now, why would they say that for? Very simple, because there was a threat on the dollar, hypothetically, a threat on the dollar being the dominant currency on the world stage. And that threat was coming from China. Right, it's coming from China. Notice how they chose stablecoins, in other words, cryptocurrency. Notice how they chose it. Now, why would they choose that? Let's see in a second. Here we go.
Now, that quote should tell you everything you need to know. The U.S. government is now actively embracing digital assets,
yes, they are.
U.S. dollar stablecoins, not to fight crypto, but to use as a weapon to maintain dollar dominance. Now, just days after the summit ended, then Trump signed an executive order launching what he calls a strategic Bitcoin reserve and a U.S. digital assets stockpile.
So right there, does that look familiar? Remember, on the monetary side, we have the Federal Reserve, keyword reserve, and the Treasury. How is money created? Very simple. The Federal Reserve creates a security called an IOU. They take that IOU over to the Treasury, and the Treasury then writes a check, right? For the ideally funding again, and all of a sudden, presto, money is created. It's debt. So money is debt. Remember that money is debt. Now watch what they do. Now, if you look at the cryptocurrency, what Trump has done, he's essentially created a Federal Reserve on the crypto side with a trust fund of Bitcoin and a reserve for cryptocurrency. He's mimicking the Federal Reserve monetary system. Watch it. Okay, here we go.
Now, while that sounds flashy, the real action is actually buried in the details. Treasury Secretary Bessent made it clear this order directs agencies to rework banking and tax rules to favor stablecoins.
What you say?
So, one, the Treasury is going to amend and rescind all previous guidance that hinders digital asset markets. Number two.
Now that's huge because governments have been at odds with cryptocurrency because cryptocurrency is decentralized, right? And governments love centralization; they love control. But now Trump is saying, "Let's shake hands with cryptocurrency." And you see the Treasury, the same Treasury that writes the check to fund the Federal Reserve's IOU that creates money, says the Treasury will amend and rescind all previous guidance that hinder digital assets. Look at how this is unfolding. Here we go.
Two, the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency shall create a framework for stablecoin integration into national banks.
So what they're saying, now that we got the rules taken care of, let's go ahead and begin to flow stablecoin integration into national banks, just like the Federal Reserve flows dollars into the national banks. Do you see that? Do you see the similarities here? Let's keep it going.
So that means two massive things. First, it tells us Trump isn't just talking. His team is rewriting the rules literally in real time as we speak. Second, this all but confirms that banks are about to get the green light to start issuing their own stablecoins. Meanwhile, Congress is already working on the legal framework to make this official. In early 2025, lawmakers introduced two major bills. There was one called the Stable Act and another one called the Genius Act.
So now he got Congress involved. What you say, Chuck? So now Congress is saying, I want to play too. Let's play too. Stable Act and Genius Act. Let's go get it in.
Now, both of these bills designed to create a federal framework for stablecoins.
Wow.
So the Stable Act, which was in the House, it requires stablecoin issuers to maintain a 1-to-1 reserves in U.S. Treasuries or cash deposits.
So now they're integrating treasuries, those same treasuries that the Federal Reserve brings over for the Treasury to write a check to. What you say? And cash deposits 1-to-1. Doesn't that sound familiar? That sounds familiar because that's exactly what actually happens on the Federal Reserve side. Let's keep it going, guys.
Number two, the Genius Act, through the Senate, it grants national banks and financial institutions the authority to issue and settle stablecoins under the OCC oversight.
So now banks can issue their own stablecoins. Why? Because it's backed by the dollar. What you say, Dale? Doesn't this look familiar? How's it simple? On the Federal Reserve monetary side, where they create debt and money is flowed through the banks, it says it's backed by the full faith of the federal government via the FDIC, right? On the currency side. Now, on the cryptocurrency side, it's the exact same scenario. The Genius Act grants national banks and financial institutions the authority to issue and settle stablecoins under the OCC oversight. The government says we back this too. So the government's backing both the cryptocurrency side of monetary policy and the Federal Reserve side of monetary policy. He is mimicking or mirroring the Federal Reserve way of making money. Keep it going, guys. This is off the chain. Let's go.
Oversight. Now, here's the kicker. Trump isn't waiting around for these things, right? He's pushing Congress to get a stablecoin bill on his desk by August. Trump said himself, quote, "We want digital dollars issued by American banks, not foreign companies, and not radical bureaucrats. Congress needs to get this done," end quote.
So this effectively shuts down offshore blockchains. This shuts down offshore blockchains. The game is over, guys. Because why? Now the government's in the game and they said they bless Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. It's over. It's over. He said, President Trump said, we want digital dollars issued by American banks. Notice Americans, not foreign companies. What you say? And not radical bureaucrats. What you say, Chuck? Congress needs to get this done. Yes, sir. Let's get it in. Do you see what he's doing?
Now, to make this work, the administration needs federal agencies to stop fighting crypto and start working with it.
It is.
And guess what? That's exactly what's happening.
Yes,
the OCC, the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency, just approved national banks to start issuing their own stablecoins.
What?
The IRS, of course, the Internal Revenue Service, they ordered to start rolling back restrictive crypto tax rules to encourage adoption. Bessent even said the Treasury will resend and amend all previous guidance that hurt the digital asset market. So think about that. Just a few years ago, regulators were cracking down on crypto at every single opportunity. Now they're resending. Now they're rewriting the rules to make stablecoins and digital assets the foundation of the financial system. And this isn't just talk. Major banks are already preparing for what's coming. JP Morgan already launched JPM Coin. It's a tokenized dollar for institutional use. And guess what? It's backed 1-to-1 by cash reserves, just like the new stablecoin rules would require. Wells Fargo CEO just said they're exploring tokenized deposits, which, let's be honest, is just another way of saying stablecoins. And let's not forget Circle's USDC stablecoin, which is already being integrated into major payment networks, including Visa. So we can see it. It's happening. The banks know what's coming. Now,
So hey, banks. Yeah. Get on your job, baby. Get on your job. Yes, sir. Loving this move, bank. So the bank said, we want to play this game too, y'all. Look at this, y'all. We're not done. Y'all even get
now they're all getting into position. And now this leads us to the biggest question. If banks are about to start issuing their own digital dollars, could we be witnessing the return of free banking? Because the last times banks had this much control over issuing money, it led to one of the most explosive periods of financial competition in U.S. history. We might be about to see it happen all over again. Now, for those of you that aren't history buffs like I am, you might be asking, what am I talking about? Well, this whole idea of banks issuing their own money, their own currency, it's not new. The U.S. already tried this before during the free banking era from 1837 to 1863. Now, back then, any bank could issue its own currency. You didn't have to have U.S. dollars. You had hundreds of different banknotes circulating, issued by different financial institutions. And here's the key part. Back then, banks had to compete. If a bank issued weak money, people didn't trust it. If they issued strong money, their currency became widely accepted. And this forced banks to actually earn trust. They had to back their money with gold, silver.
I am loving it. I hang up praise, y'all. Here we go. Yeah. Come on. Hang up a praise, y'all. Yes, so hang up a praise. Let's keep it going.
Strong financial reserves, or people just wouldn't use it. They'd go to a competitor's bank instead. And because of this competition, banking services and financial innovation skyrocketed. Now, if we fast forward that to today, guess what? We might be entering free banking 2.0. Except this time, it all happens on blockchains. Now imagine walking into a store and having the option to pay with a JPM coin or a Wells Fargo dollar or a Goldman Sachs stablecoin, just like in the 1800s. Now, back then, banks would have had to compete for your trust. The ones offering the most stable, the most secure, the most widely accepted digital money would dominate the market. Scott Bessent said it. He said, quote, the stablecoin framework will ensure financial institutions can offer dollar-backed digital assets in a regulated, secure manner. Now that means
if this happens, y'all, Fed Chairman Powell, you got to do something for me, Fed Chairman. If this happens like this, you gotta cut them rates. Cut them rates, Fed Chairman Powell. You got to cut it, baby. You got to cut them rates, baby. Let's keep it going, baby.
Is that banks could soon be competing to issue the best digital dollars, and this could change everything. So what happens if banks are allowed to compete again?
I wonder.
Well, here's what it could mean for you.
Come on.
Better banking services. Because banks would have to offer lower fees, higher interest, faster transactions, just to stay competitive.
Did he say lower fees? Did he say lower fees? Is that what he said? That's what Mark said. Okay, I want to make sure we're good.
Stronger and more secure money, because stablecoins would have clear regulations, real asset backing, unlike offshore unregulated stablecoins we see today.
Stronger and secure money. What that means is less risk for the bank, which means higher LTV for you. LTV means lending, okay? Loan to value. All right, let's keep it going.
instant global payments. Your money could move anywhere in the world instantly without relying on antiquated SWIFT systems or outdated banking networks.
So velocity of the cash moves quickly, which means you can close more transactions. What you say, Chuck? Yeah, because it's lower risk for the banks, right? And it's lower risk for you because you get speed and lower fees because the banks have to compete for your business. Here we go.
More financial freedom. Instead of being forced into one monetary system, you'd have real choices over where to store your wealth. In short, this could...
What that means is you can actually store it in dollars or cryptocurrency. You get to choose, baby. You get to choose, pimp. And the banks on both sides. What you say? And the government.
Could be the biggest transformation in banking since the internet.
Yes, sir.
And so now that we know what's happening, where does this lead us? Like, what's the big picture here? Well, the answer is simple. Like, this could be the biggest transformation of the U.S. financial system and of the U.S. dollar in history. And when everybody thinks the U.S. dollar is dying, it could be cementing its position as the dominant global leader for decades.
Wow.
Now, like I said, the dollar's dominance has been under attack from inflation, from global de-dollarization, from countries like China and Russia pushing their own currencies. But now with stablecoins officially backed by U.S. banks, the dollar could actually come out stronger than ever. Why would that even strengthen the U.S. dollar, you might ask? Well, more global demand for dollars. We have this situation where people all around the world with failing currencies, think Lebanon, Turkey, Argentina, Venezuela, Peru, they all want U.S. dollars, but they can't get them. And the government wants them to have U.S. dollars.
Sure do.
And so U.S. stablecoins is a way to do that. Now, right now, over $200 billion in stablecoins are already circulating worldwide. Almost all of them are pegged to the U.S. dollar.
What you say?
That number is expected to grow at least.
So hold on. Let's see that again for the folk in the back row. Here we go. Let's see it again.
Now, right now, over $200 billion in stablecoins are already circulating worldwide.
So 200 billion in stablecoins already circulating worldwide. That's a lot. That's a lot of coins, a lot of money. Here we go.
Almost all of them are pegged to the U.S. dollar.
Almost all of them are pegged to the U.S. dollar. What you say, Chuck? What you say, Chuck? Again, heck out of place. Hey, yeah. I'm loving this move. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I'm loving this move, guys. I'm loving it. Let's keep it going, guys. We're almost done. I'm going to break it down.
And that number is expected to grow at least 10x, maybe even 100x as stablecoins go mainstream. And then banks start competing to offer the best digital dollars. Instead of a single outdated financial system, we could see banks competing for better, faster, and more services.
What you
now,
say?
of course, anytime we have competition, we get better products, better services, better prices. And this isn't just about stablecoins. Banks are now able to hold digital assets. Think Bitcoin. Now, imagine a future where sending money internationally happens instantly with near zero fees, all powered by U.S. bank-issued stablecoins. This could lock the U.S. dollar in as the global reserve currency for the next era of digital finance, ensuring the U.S. remains at the center of global trade, investment, and banking. But here's the thing. There's another option, one that doesn't require stablecoins, one that doesn't even require banks. You see, Trump and Bessent made it clear that they also support Bitcoin with the executive order and the strategic Bitcoin reserve. Now, there was talk of it being a crypto reserve, but they made it clear this is a Bitcoin reserve, not crypto. They said that Bitcoin is different and will be treated different than anything else. And the thing with Bitcoin is it allows us to be our own banks. So instead of relying on stablecoins and banks to control your money, Bitcoin lets you hold your wealth directly without any middlemen, without any restrictions.
More
and
control?
with Bitcoin, we have true financial sovereignty.
Wow.
There's no need to trust a bank-issued stablecoin. You control your own money anywhere in the world. You can move it instantly across borders with or without government approval, and yes, without the bank.
Fed Chairman Powell, hey, cut it. It's time to cut it, brother. It's time to cut them raises coming, baby. You on the clock, big dog, because when this rolls out, baby, it's going to be something serious. We almost done, y'all. Let's get it in. Almost done. Let's get it in.
And most importantly, though, it's a hedge against inflation.
Yes,
Unlike the dollar, Bitcoin has a fixed supply.
Fixed.
There's only going to ever be 21 million Bitcoin. So instead of your money, your dollars, buying less and less goods and services in the future, Bitcoin buys you more goods and services in the future. Let me give you an example. In 2016, the U.S. median home price in the U.S. was $288,400. And it was also 664 Bitcoin. Today, the U.S. median home is $434,700, but it's only 6 Bitcoin. Okay, just one more quick break. Hopefully you're enjoying the video.
So again, guys, if you're not following a Mark Moss, check your pulse. This is one of the most brilliant minds on the planet concerning cryptocurrency and finance. And it's free content, guys. Follow this man. You will not be disappointed at all. Mark, man, always loving the content, man. You are a genius, brother. Loving it. Now let's walk through this thing, y'all, with your partner, man. Let me go to work. All right, look at my job. Yeah. Gotcha. So now, how could crypto open up lending? Real simple answer. By Trump, mimicking the Federal Reserve monetary system when it comes to fiat currency, the dollar itself, with cryptocurrency and really Bitcoin, guys, right? Trump can expand the money supply without printing additional dollars. Therefore, there'll be no inflation. Now, how do they do that? Very simple. If you go back and listen to a previous Countable podcast or Real Estate Live podcast that me and Cliff did, we actually played sections of the cryptocurrency summit that was done at the White House. And President Trump, as well as the Fed, not the Fed chairman, but the Commerce Secretary said, hey, and the Treasury Secretary said, hey, don't sell your Bitcoin, leverage it. Let me say it again. They said, don't sell your Bitcoin, leverage it. Just like the Federal Reserve leverages a security called an IOU or bond or treasury. That's even familiar? You see the similarities there of leveraging? It's just on the Federal Reserve side. What happens is inflation, because they have to print new money. They have to print new money. On the cryptocurrency side, there's no creating additional coins because you're just leveraging the existing coins. So all you're doing, you're expanding the money supply, or expanding the money supply. Now, what's that do? It allows for the banks to be able to give more competitive rates and services to the consumers. Lower rates to consumers entices investors or entrepreneurs to borrow money to make more investments to create new jobs, which pays a higher wage. They hire a new employee, pay a higher wage, right? That makes some sense. And then an employee is able to go out and buy a new home, a new car, another credit card, or a new credit card. You see what I'm saying? Begin a side hustle, borrow debt that way. Do you see what's going on here? This is a brilliant move that could realistically change not only the financial system, but also the economy. And don't let President Trump get approved, no tax on tips, get rid of lowering the corporate tax from 21 to 15%, and also, what else do you want to do for when it comes to taxes? And also getting rid of the income tax. If that happens, guys, you're talking about a bounce back. I mean, guys, the bounce back, there will be an explosion. All of the money on the sidelines will get off the sidelines. Those stagnant buyers will come rushing back to the market. Those static sellers will put their properties back on the market, and you begin to see the economy churn. And then you'll see your man's them Powell. Cut them rates, baby. Cut them rates, because the economy is organically moving and it's not being manipulated by excessive printing of money. Makes some sense now? Crypto, if done correctly, could save the real estate market. I believe it could. Not based on and I have facts to kind of back that up, right? So, man, this was fun for me to walk through because one of the lion's share of the questions I get is concerning, hey, Liddell, well, what's going on with the market? Is it going to stabilize? What do you think? Should I go buy a home? Should I not? Should I rent right now? I get a lot of these questions, guys. And the answers to those questions begin on this topic. We will do a real estate live concerning renting versus buying. We will, right? But at the exact same time, it begins here because if the economy is not manufacturing cash flow organically, right? Inflation will always happen. But if it's moving organically through commerce, no inflation, it drives down inflation. Does that make some sense, guys? Man, I hope this was fun. Hope you enjoyed this. I enjoyed it thoroughly doing this, guys. All right, guys. Now, if you want to ask me any questions at all, guys, don't you worry your partner. Let me get this right. My bad, y'all. I am on the app called Manect, right? That means is if you ever hired an attorney does what they call roll up. So therefore, if you talk to an attorney for 5 minutes, they're going to roll it up to 10, 15 minutes, right? You talk to them for 5 minutes. Well, this is called Manect. Manect is a way for you to talk with experts. Myself, Patrick B. David, Matt Sapala, Candace Owens, Brandon Tatum. I think Brandon Tatum's on this, but if not, it is what it is. Anybody, Chris Cuomo. They're all on Manect, guys. You can scan the QR code or click the link below. Ask me any questions you want about real estate, finance, anything at all, period, life, marriage. You can easily reach out to me and I'll answer live. It could be via video, phone call, you name it. You can reach out to me and ask me any question you want, right? And I will respond. Put it like this. It's less than 2% if you DM somebody on LinkedIn, Facebook, or Instagram. When it comes to Manect, it's 91% response. I'm sorry, forgive me, 97% response. I respond back via text, voice, video. We can also have video phone calls too. You can pick my brain if you want to. It's up to you. It's up to you guys. It's right there, guys. All right, guys. Also, real quickly, we are giving away our free distressed property ebook. We talked about distressed properties, and I'm going to go back to distressed properties in a second. But guys, if you want to download our free ebook called Distressed Property Investing, you can easily do it, guys. Just scan on the QR code right here, or click on the link below, right, in the show notes, and you get the download. It's free. It's how you can find, vet, and locate and close your first or many, let me say it again, many distressed properties in your city, county, or state. And if you cannot either scan the QR code or click on the link below, don't you worry. Direct message me the word real estate is on the keys right there, and my team will get the link out to you. Okay. Now, I said that I would talk about distressed properties real quickly. Let me go back to this real quickly. Let me get this off the screen real quickly. All right. Now, no, I'm gonna keep it on. I'm gonna keep it on for a second so you can see what's going on. All right, guys. Let me get to my little screen here. Boom. Now, distressed properties, guys. Very simple. All right. What type of distressed properties are available? I'm actually glad you asked. Give me a sec here, guys. I'm gonna get my little screen up real fast so you can see what I see. I should have had it ready to go, but I did not. So don't shout me down. Give me one sec here, guys. Distressed properties, real quickly here, and this is actually in the book, guys. It's in the free ebook. So I'm gonna give you a sneak peek into the free ebook. Give me a sec here, guys. Where did it go? There we go. Come on, open up for your partner. There we go. I got you, baby. All right, guys. I'm going to give you a little bit of a secret real fast, guys. This is what I normally do, okay? So don't shout me down. All right, don't shout me down. Let me get rid of that. Now, come on now. Hurry up, computer. There we go. All right, guys. I'm going to show you a little bit of the ebook real quickly, guys. And I plan on doing this. Here we go. Let me go share it real quickly here. Share the screen. And boom, and boom, and boom. All right, guys. You ain't gonna show? There we go. Let me get that right. There. Oh, my bad, y'all. Boom. There we go. Oh, my bad. Boom. Here are the different types of distressed properties. All right. Different types. Here we go, guys. All right. One is behind on payments or mortgage payments. It means you've lost a job inflation or high taxes have really forced you to be kind of behind because you can't afford payments anymore. Number two, long DOM or days on the market. That's 90 plus days. A job transfer or overpriced. You heard in the beginning part of the podcast that sellers are being hard-headed. Most likely they have long days on market, which you saw. 3, you have expired listings. What that really means, guys, is a property was on the market via MLS, right? And what happened is because it didn't sell, it expired. No one bought it. That could be because that could be selling the property because of job transfer, overpriced, or the kids couldn't make the payments anymore. It kind of looks the exact same thing as behind on mortgage payments, right? Number 4, vacant property. It could be an out-of-state owner or code violations, right? The key one right there is code violations. I'll let you figure that out. And the last one is pre-foreclosures. What that means is these properties are 90 days in arrears. That means they're behind on payments. Know the terminology when it comes to real estate. Arrears means that they're behind on payments, right? Or they're behind on taxes. There's a way for you to buy properties, guys, and they're owed them free and clear, just by paying off the taxes that someone didn't pay. That is for real. That's real. That is real, guys. If that makes some sense, guys. So those are really the 5 types of distressed properties. Real quickly, I'm going to give you a little bit of a hint here. Focus on the vacant property one and the bullet point, code violations. I'm going to say it again. Focus on the distressed property section of vacant property and the bullet point of code violations. If you download the free ebook, you'll understand why I'm saying this. Why I'm saying this. Does that make some sense, guys? So those are the 5 types of distressed properties. This is the reason why, guys, we are giving away this free ebook is because of the fact that you get all of those answers in the book, and it is free. Don't want nothing from you at all. Scan on the QR code right there on the screen, or in the show notes. Click on the link below in the show notes, or if you need to, direct message me or connect to me if you want to. The word real estate, and my team will get it out to you today, ASAP. Just go download it and go through the book. It's free. All right, guys. Well, guys, that's all I have for today, guys. Again, if you want to ask me any questions or pick my brain, simple. Contact me on Connect. Scan on the QR code or click on the link below, guys, in the show notes. All right, guys. But guys, God bless you. I hope I added some value today, guys. Do me a favor, like and subscribe, guys, if you could, and let people know about our channel. Once you like. On YouTube or Rumble or on TikTok or anywhere else, it helps the algorithm and it helps us out. Click on that, on that like button or that bell, so whenever your partner goes live, you'll get alerted, guys. But guys, thank you so much for your time. God bless you. You know I end it every time. Before you leave and while you can, baby, you see that thing, baby. Take the picture for your mama and holler at your partner. God bless you guys. See you next time. Peace.
Okay, so you did fixes and flips first, or were they? Now it sounds like you're more buy and hold. Okay, so you're wholesaling first. Okay,
because I was broke. I had no credit. I had no money, so I had to get some money coming in. So I learned how to do wholesale.
And you were doing wholesaling at the good time too.
2000.
When it wasn't so saturated. There was.
I kind of saw the debacle coming. Okay, it didn't make any sense. I was like, wait a minute, how can you lend out to retail buyers 99.7%?
Yeah,
just a little bit of a down tick. It's insolvent.
And you got to remember, in some states, because I lived in Florida at the time, you could have loan to value above 100% of your property. Right. The first property that I bought, it was 110%. We left the bank with like $30,000.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
It was amazing to me. I was like, why am I not doing this all the time? But then clearly 08, 09 let me know why people shouldn't have been doing that all the time.
08, 09, that's why I made that lion's share of my money.
Wow. Okay.
Actually running from the cows, I was running to it.
Of course.
Because I saw it was coming.
Okay.
A lot of my business colleagues back then were buying flippers.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was wise for me to share 50% of my profit with Uncle Sam. He didn't do no work.
Okay.
So why would I give him free money?
Of course.
Okay, how can I make sure I'm still legal,
but keep the lion's share of the cash flow.
Of course.
So I began studying the tax code with my accountants and CPAs, and I said, okay, I'm going to buy a whole lot of properties. Now watch this. I actually buy a lot of properties. And I take home money when I actually acquire it. Every single time.
Okay, you need to break that down just a little bit.
If you wanted to know how successful real estate investors make money with their acquire real estate and not when they sell it, click on the link below or swipe up and download our free ebook, Distressed Property Investing. The blueprint is in the ebook. Stay blessed, holla at your partner, and download the ebook today.
Bless God, give thanks. Bless God, give thanks. Bless God, give thanks. Bless God, give thanks. Big